Now in this lecture, we are going to perform another operation on two-dimensional array. Now in this case, we are going to delete an element from two-dimensional array. Now let's say we have an array like this and we want to delete some cells from here. Now in this case, when we are deleting an element from this array over here, we are just setting this array values to the default value that we have set for this array. Now by default, when you are creating two-dimensional array in the Java, by default all values are set to 0. By creating custom constructor, you can set these values to any value that is suitable for you. For example, people sometimes prefer to set it -1. By default it's 0, but in our case, I've set them to the minimum integer value from Java. So you know that minimum integer value in Java is -2 to the power of 31. Now in this case, if I want to delete this element from here, which is 40, we are going to set this cell to -2 to the power of 31. Now to set this to the minimum integer value, in this case we need to access the first row, which is the index of 2, and then column, which is the index of 3. So we are going to write our operation like this. So array name with the first is the row index, which is 2, then the column index. And we are setting this to the minimum integer value. Then it becomes like this. Basically, we are not deleting the element from the two-dimensional array, we are just changing the value of this cell over here. Now, for example, if I want to delete this element from here, which is located at the first row and the first column, in this case, which is 4, so the value will be changed to -2 to the power of 31. So this is how we are deleting an element from two-dimensional array. Now let's see how this is working in practice. So we are going to create a method for deleting an array element from two-dimensional array in our two-dimensional array class. Now one more time, inside this two-dimensional array class, we are going to create our method after the method that we have created in our previous lecture. So in our previous lecture, we have created searching a single value from the array. Now here, under this method, I'm going to create delete value from array. So I'm going to declare our method like this: public void delete value from array. Now this method will take two parameters. So the first parameter will be the row parameter and the second parameter will be the column parameter. Now here, whenever we are passing parameter row and column, we need to write our code inside try and catch block, because there might be a situation that we are writing an index of row over here which does not exist in our array. So that's why, to prevent such cases, we are going to write our method inside try and catch block. Now in the catch, we are going to put array index out of bounds exception. So here the catch will be like this: array index out of bounds exception. Then here, inside this catch, I'm going to print message to the console saying that this index is invalid for array. So I'm going to put like this: this index is not valid for array. Now after putting our message over here, we are going to write our main code inside try block. So here, the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to print out to the console saying that successful deletion of this value over here. Then we are going to set this one to the console. Now the reason that I'm printing out message first, because we need to access the value of this cell over here. So then we are setting the value of this cell to the minimum integer value. So if I print out this one after setting it, it's going to print out -2 to the power of 31. That's why, to prevent this case, first I'm printing out the value of cell, then setting it to the minimum integer value. So here I'm going to put like this: system out print successfully deleted. Then here I'm going to put class arr row index, then column index. Then I'm going to set this cell value to the minimum integer value, integer dot minimum value. Now after doing so, we have completed our method. So we are setting the value of this cell to the minimum integer value. Now let's see how this is working in practice. So here we have created our two-dimensional array over here and we have inserted some elements to it. Now what I'm going to do, first I'm going to print out the array that we have created over here. Then I'm going to delete any cell from this array, then one more time print it out to the console to see the difference. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do it like this. So here I'm going to call our delete method, delete. Then it's going to be, for example, 0 column and 0 row. Then after doing so, one more time I'm going to print out our array to the console, because we know that by using deep to string method we can print out two-dimensional array to the console. So here, after doing so, I'm going to run our code. Now you see that first our array looks like this. So this is our array that we created. So we have inserted 4 elements to this array. Now here you see that at the index of 0 row and 0 column we have 10. Now when we are calling this method, deletion method, the message saying that successfully deleted 10. Now then, one more time, when we are printing out the 2-dimensional array to the console, we are seeing that the value of 10 changed to minus 2 to the power of 31. So we have successfully deleted 10 from this array over here. So that's how it works in practice. Now let's see what's the time and space complexity for this method over here. So as always, we are going to start from the first line of code. So in the first line of code, we have a print out message to the console. So here we are printing out message to the console, accessing this array element, and this part will take O1 time complexity because accessing an element of 2-dimensional array takes O1 time complexity, and printing out message to the console also takes O1 time complexity. That's why this line of code will take O1 time complexity. Now in the second line, we are setting this cell's value to the minimum integer value, so this one also will take O1 time complexity. Then in the exception, we are printing out message to the console, so we know that printing out message to the console also takes O1 time complexity. Now if we combine all these complexities over here, we are getting O1 time complexity. Now similarly, the space complexity is also O1 because here an extra memory is not required to perform this method over here. So that's why space complexity is also O1. Now with this we have completed this lecture, so hopefully everything is clear about deleting value from 2-dimensional array.